Well, welcome to the 7 o'clock talk. And I'm Dr. Miller, and this is my lovely wife, Nurse Jessica. And tonight we're going to touch on three topics. We're going to talk about self experimentation and bio individuality and why this is a thing and why it matters. Then we're going to talk about uh, medical tyranny. And last but not least, politics and the politics of food and why it matters to you. So let's start off with bio individuality. Everybody seems to want to be able to say that this one thing is the way, or this one diet is the thing that cures all, or this pill is the magic bullet, or whatever is the case. We are firm believers in food first and diet. And we test ourselves periodically, and we just tested ourselves a few weeks ago and saw that our insulin was getting a little high. It was a little out of range and didn't like that, a little out of optimal range. And so then we were like, well, we've been talking back and forth with a gentleman on YouTube about the carnivore diet. And I agree that the carnivore diet is great for controlling insulin and blood sugar.
I beg to differ.
And so we thought we would try it. My results were typical. I had an insulin of 8 and I didn't like that. And so I didn't do it super strict either because I was eating onions and garlic and cabbage. And I dropped my insulin from an 8 to a 3.6 in that week and a half. However, my lovely wife,
And there's nothing typical about me. And I'm red because we just trucked around 16-mile bike ride real fast so we could get our exercise in. So I'm perfectly fine. I always do this, so no worries. But I am not typical at all. And I raised mine 3 points in that week and a half, and I did not cheat. My
she
insulin
was
went up 3 points,
strict.
and I hated every second of it. But I did try it, and I won't ever do it again.
Now, in all fairness, we are tracking our blood sugars with constant glucose monitors. And hers did go down for a while. Her blood sugar went down. Her insulin did not. So there's something else going on, and it is not a typical finding.
Well, and we've tested things on me so that typical things that are supposed to make your blood sugars go down actually raise mine.
For instance,
Um, Terzepatide, I microdose it to decrease inflammation and blood sugars. It raised it 20 points consistently, almost immediately.
and it hasn't gone
So,
down.
and it hasn't went down. So there will not be any. I've tried peptides, I've tried semaglutide, microdosing, and I gained weight, which we thought that is the silliest thing. But now we know that the reason why is because it actually raised my blood sugars.
Well, and you
and
did low dose naltrexone.
I did low dose now. I've done certain wellness peptides. I've tried some of the GLP ones. I've tried natural GLP ones. I've tried low dose naltrexone because I know I have an inflammation issue. But I've had a lot of fun, so I have a lot of metal and hardware in my body. I am glued back together in a lot of places.
So
It doesn't slow me down, but it does make me look fat and inflamed and puffy. And I feel pretty good, but I don't look good.
So we're still digging in here on her. But just for clarification, we did her second insulin draw before she took the terzepatide. So it should have
No.
been, I thought you took the terzepatide and then we drew the insulin. Well, then our findings with the carnivore diet aren't actually correct.
Doesn't matter. The things that are supposed to decrease my insulin did not.
All right. So with that being said on the self experimentation, everybody's an individual. And it's not about us telling you what is right. It's about us walking the path with you.
And you listening to your body.
Yes, and you listening to your body. So now she's going to do keto, which has worked well in the past for her. So we'll see.
Well, I enjoy vegetables. I don't eat a lot of fruit and I don't like meat. So and my vegetables that I eat are not starchy. They're green. Um, so anyway, it's like being a nurse. When I was a new nurse, we used to have old nurses that raised you up once you had your education. Then you got a real one from the old nurses, and they're far and few between these days. But they always told us your patient will die while you're watching that monitor. You have to pay attention to your patient. And so we tell people this all the time. Like, we have tools, but what's good for one may not be good for all. You have to pay attention to you, and we pay attention to each person as an individual, because there's we have
You
lots
are
of
an individual.
we have lots of things in our tool belt, but they don't work for everybody. And we walk down the street and we silently judge people, and we all do it. Like, oh my gosh, can you believe, why are they eating that and they look like that? You can eat a beautiful diet. I am here to tell you, you can be on a beautiful diet, clean, and you can have movement down and you can have sleep down and you can still be overweight, because it's not just about calories. It is not just about, movement. Hormones play into it, inflammation plays into it, and you have to dig deep sometimes. We've dug deep. So, and we will,
And we're still digging.
and we dig on everybody like that. So,
She's the toughest patient. Now, here's one I can't wait to let her loose on. Let's talk about medical tyranny. And this is coming about because she was talking about, tell them about the pediatricians. You go.
well, so
This is
lots
your
of
baby.
things happen. There was I don't know, I was scrolling. We were driving back from somewhere on our way to another bike ride, and I was scrolling and I popped up on something. There was a kind of an argument online, and it was over vaccines. And they were basically telling people, basically, vaccines are, people are not vaccinating their children. Um, and that's their choice. But somebody was saying basically, you're going to make my child sick. Well, I was like, well, let them live and let live. People, fought for this country, and we all have rights, and people died for those rights, and everybody gets to choose, in my opinion. And if you believe in your science, is basically, I usually try to stay out of it, but I stepped in and I'm like, but if you believe in your science and you are vaccinated, then there's not much you need to worry about, because if you believe in your science and your vaccine, then
You're covered.
you're covered. But I don't believe that you should force anybody to get a vaccine. I also don't believe that you should take their right away to get one. It's up to you. If it was up to me, if I know now what I didn't know then, my children would have never been touched, and I would have never taken it. And I believe that everybody gets the right to choose for themselves. So then they eventually, and there's no science behind it. If they want to believe in the science, well, they didn't really do the science. So
They didn't do the studies
they didn't do the
correctly.
studies correctly. And so then it moved on from that to now there's pediatricians banning to try to um, take your right away to have trying to think of the word,
They're not going to treat you.
like the religious
Exemption.
exemptions, so that you don't have to have the vaccine. There's another one. So they're trying to take that right away. Well, that's not right. That's not fair. You have the right to choose what happens to you and your family, and until they can prove without a doubt that they don't harm, I don't think they should have the right to tell you what you can and cannot do, because I am vaccine injured and I know lots of people that are vaccine injured, and I don't think that I personally don't think that you should dictate to somebody that they need to do something, whether it be for their child to go to school, for you to keep a job, or anything else. Anyway, I could go on and on and on. But I think you have the right to choose for you. And this applies across the board. So you can't pick and choose. Like, we all stand up, and as women, we have the right to choose whether we carry a child or not carry a child. Great. I believe in that. I also believe that you have the right to choose. There's a beautiful rainbow. That whether you vaccinate yourself or your children, I think you have the choice. I think you should have the choice medically across the board when it pertains to you in your body. I don't think people should pick or choose, that this or that. You just get the right to choose. Anyway, I'll stop.
And I'm the rebel because I'm a chiropractor. Now, when I was young, I was vaccinated. I got the 3 vaccines that everybody in the 70s got: measles, mumps, and polio. But my children never received any, and they're all in their 20s and 30s now, and they are healthy and going about their way. They didn't die.
Vaccines for college, but
Well, that was because of a job.
right. And this is again my point is you should not be required to vaccinate yourself for a job. And as a nurse, I was vaccinated for nursing school. I was vaccinated again for nursing school. I was vaccinated when I got my job, and I was required to get vaccinated every year after that. So I've had so many vaccines, which is
And I'm just
the reason why I have had so many issues. But anyway,
so,
I believe you have the right, whether you choose or you don't choose, it is your right to choose.
and this plays into how we also treat our patients.
Oh, hang on a second. And the reason why this is the kicker here is the pediatricians are banding together because they don't want them, they want every child to be vaccinated because they actually get a kickback from those vaccine companies. One,
So you're
and
taking away
two,
a line of
you're
income
taking their
from
income
them.
away. It has nothing to do with health. In my opinion, it has nothing to do with health. It does have everything to do with a pocketbook, which should not play into people's lives. And two, you should not dictate to any parent that they have to vaccinate their child in order to stay at your practice. In my opinion, that is wrong. Anyway, now go ahead.
And so that's kind of how we treat you when you're a patient. If you're working with another doctor, we want to work with that doctor for you because we are part of that team at that point in time. And if there's a doctor who is trying to dictate everything, I would ask a simple question. Well, give me a bunch of your patients to interview, and I want to talk to the ones that you've cured or healed of XYZ. Because if they can't give that to you or get a reference for you, and they'd have to call a patient and get a HIPAA comes into play there. But regardless, if they aren't willing to actually prove that they're all knowing and all powerful, then they just need to be a part of the team working with you, a part of your healthcare team. I don't understand all medicine. She doesn't understand all medicine, although I tip of the hat. She knows as much as most of the medical doctors that I have met. Um, and I'm on a different side of the fence than those guys. A lot of the medical doctors look at the tests that we do, and I read those tests, and she reads those tests, and they think they're a bunch of malarkey, but that's because they don't understand them. And just because you don't understand something doesn't make it wrong. It just means that you don't know. And
Well,
last but not least,
I want to add, I've had wonderful pediatricians for my children in the past and currently, and I've had a few that weren't. But the ones that I had that I loved always would sit down and listen and allow me to be a part of the care as to if I didn't want that vaccine or I did. And That is what it's all about. And so I say it to everyone. If you have a physician that you can sit down and talk to and have meaningful conversations with, wonderful. If you do not, find a different one, because there are some fabulous pediatricians. There are some fabulous MDs out there. And if you can't talk to them, find somebody that you can.
And then last but not least, let's hit on some politics. I don't care what side of the aisle you're on. The bottom dollar is that the only thing that matters are the people and what's in the best interest of the people. And right now, we're not sure why there's even a debate about this. But if you want to talk about, helping people, here's the thing, and you've heard us for the last couple of weeks talk about this glyphosate issue. Number one, it affects the shikimic pathway that blocks your ability to make aromatic amino acids, which blocks your ability to make your neurotransmitters, and it blocks your ability to make your hormones. It blocks your ability to make proteins. And this is not questionable science. Even Monsanto's own papers talk about this. It selectively kills good bacteria in your gut, and it makes you ill. It's already been proven without a doubt that it causes lymphocytic leukemia. And that's the only one that they can sue for right now. They're waiting on the science for the other things to come up. And then they're going to go after these guys, and they know it. And right now, they are all petitioning and politicking really hard to get something similar to the vaccine shield. Like, if you get vaccine injured, you cannot sue the vaccine company. The same thing goes, that's what these chemical companies are looking for. Bayer Monsanto and Kim China, and I think Syngenta, they all have these 2,4-Ds, glyphosates, atrazines, and things like that that all work on the shikimic pathway. And they are behind the scenes meeting with politicians and working this language into the bill to give them a shield. And somehow it passed the first reading. Don't know how. Well, I do. It's because somebody's getting a lot of money and they're playing politics with our lives and our health. And we can test your urine and show you that you have this stuff in you and you can't get it out. You can decrease it, but the burden is too great.
Well, and the glyphosate girl, she actually had her child's baby tooth tested, which, if anybody knows anything about baby teeth, they are formed inside of the gum line prior to birth, and it had glyphosate in it. So we are in the Midwest, so there's chemicals sprayed on fields all around us all the time, and we're bombarded with it. But there's people that aren't in the Midwest that don't live around chemicals where they're being sprayed, and they have it in them because of food.
Food
It's not
in the
just,
atmosphere.
but it's not just hurting your health currently, it's actually destroying your ability to have children, the infertility rates, and they have proven that it decreases the volume of eggs and the motility of sperm. So it affects men and women equally. And so it's making people sick with cancers and things like that, but it's also destroying future generations.
And if you're interested in Kelly's work, which is mainly political, you can go to glyphosatefacts.com
And she's
follow at Glyphosate Girl on Instagram.
And she's super passionate about the infertility issue, how it relates to glyphosate. She's fascinating to talk to, and she has all the literature. It's pretty scary.
So these, go ahead.
Well, I was just going to add, I don't even understand why this is even
Oh yeah.
debatable. Like I don't know why anybody would ever allow a chemical company to be shielded from harm when it's been proven that they are harming people. It just seems like a no-brainer to me. So this has absolutely nothing to do with health and wellness.
It has nothing to do with feeding
It
the
has
world.
to, yeah. We don't feed the world because most of the other countries don't even accept our grains. So this has everything to do with money. And so if you go online, you can find the numbers to call and get a hold of your congressman and ask them to help stop that.
Well, join her group and she'll email you stuff. Here's a question to ask yourself. If these chemicals are so good and feed the world and we need them, then why in their own countries, in China, China can't sell that product in China? Bayer Monsanto can't sell it in Germany. So they can't sell that product where it's actually produced now, but yet they still do it here. Why? If you're feeding the world, you should be able to do it anywhere because you want to make your goods marketable, but yet they aren't. So is it really about feeding the world, about helping farmers, and about all that? Take a look at how many farmers have cancers popping up left and right. Farmers, I believe, are one of the the sections of the working community that have some of the highest cancer rates. I believe. I did not fact check that, so you guys can fact check me on that. But regardless, I know a lot of farmers, and I know a lot of farmers that have had themselves and family members get weird cancers. And
Specifically lymphomas.
yep, and that's been linked to it. So join Glyphosate Girl on Instagram. Go online to Glyphosate Facts. Join the newsletter, and she keeps you informed. And people,
Run down the rabbit hole.
pick up your phone and call, and then see if your politicians are actually working for you or if they're working for $1. With that being said, thank you. Sorry for the big rant tonight, but it had to be done. Have a great evening, and we hope we see you soon. And next week, we'll see you then. Bye.